Fingiamo un down, non castare in giro, solo che mi tocca cargando.
This is Jimmy T with the amazing Amanda Adams with Eye on Inyo Education and Outside Science. Welcome. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks so much for having
So
me.
I understand that you were out in the field last week. How was it?
It was awesome. It was really hot. And it was great. The kids got to explore a bunch of stuff. My favorite experiment that they did, kind of to figure out what was going on out at Fish Slough, was they were walking around on a bunch of different types of soil with different plants. There's like a cool meadow out there. And they asked, the question, what makes this meadow spot different than the spot that's not a meadow? They dug up some soil and tested it out. It was really cool.
And what did they find?
They found that the soil in the meadow generally holds water longer than the soil that's up in the desert scrubland.
Loamy versus sandy?
Yeah, definitely sandier up in the up in the scrub.
So now I understand that you're on a recruiting drive.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The last half of the spring, we've got 3 more field trips, a 6th grade, a 7th grade, and a 2nd grade field trip coming up. And I'm really excited to get a couple more folks from the community who are excited to kind of share their passion for nature, for the outdoors, for water in the valley. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Now, do we need any experience to do this?
No, people who come out need to be able to be comfortable and safe outside. It needs to be kind of something they do often. Maybe if you've taught, most people have taught things. Most people teach their family members or their roommates or their friends. We teach things all the time. And so being outside and asking kids to kind of look around and notice and wonder what's going on actually ends up taking, the only experience you need is being able to have a conversation with a kid and be really interested in what they have to say.
A lot of the children in your age group get a bad rap, but once you get them outside, they completely change.
Yeah, the 6th and 7th graders are so fun. And 8th graders outside in November, I was with 8th graders at the Lower Owens River Project. And there's tons of water. It was still running off from our big spring. And they helped me. I was wearing a wetsuit and they all had waders on. And they helped me get across the river. And we just we were laughing the whole time. It was a great time.
Yeah. I remember when I was in the 6th grade, we had just an outstanding time in science. 6th and 7th, actually.
Amazing.
It's a good time. So what do you plan to teach in the spring? Second half of the spring.
So in 7th grade, this field trip that's coming up in a couple weeks, we are going to be looking for wildlife tracks, wildlife sign. We actually went out Friday and looked at all of our sites and found a good bit of wildlife stuff out there. There was a raccoon lavatory.
Yes.
And we found one of those. We found lots of cool stuff, lots of crayfish. So they'll be looking at wildlife. We'll be pulling macro invertebrates out of the stream. That's my favorite study. You pull them into a bucket and you sort out the tiny little critters. And that's something that just kids light up. You see a bug and it's moving, and even every kid is excited to look at bugs.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one? We're going to be doing plant transects, trying to find invasive plants out and see how
Those are easy to find. Come in my backyard.
Oh.
Come in my garden. Milkweed everywhere. What's it?
Well, that's great for the butterflies.
It's great. So are dandelions.
Oh.
But, those little. So the first trip you said is going to be wildlife signs?
So we cover 3 stations. So one of the reasons that we're looking for people from all backgrounds is because there's 3 stations. You can kind of teach what you're comfortable with. You don't have to teach everything. Yeah. And there are often multiples of the stations. So you can kind of watch a more experienced volunteer teach their station, and then you can kind of take it on and make it your own. So on April 2nd, we're going on our first field trip, and I would love anybody that's interested to come out with us on April 2nd and kind of see what it's all about. And then decide to volunteer from there if they want.
How long is it from April 2nd to when?
So we have one on April 2nd, and then nothing the rest of that week. The week after, I think we've got maybe the 6th, 7th, and 8th, possibly. So since I work with all of the different school districts, they just kind of schedule around when they're available. So the week of the 2nd. I think some schools are on spring break still.
So then you have the macroinvertebrates.
Yeah, so macros, wildlife, and plants are all on the 2nd, are all on the same field trip.
Oh,
So the kids kind
okay.
of like rotate between the stations. And then with our 6th graders, we're going to do water quality. So I'm really excited to get some water scientists out there.
We have some great hydrologists in the area.
Yeah, there's a ton.
I mean, they're serious. These guys are like PhD level.
Yeah, and so that's one thing that in our last field trip, we actually got to connect the students with real life archaeologists from Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management. And so these kids get to see what I didn't get to see as a kid, which is that there are really cool careers outside. And you can like dig in the dirt for your whole life, in fact.
You're going to pay me to play in the mud?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
I appreciate your coming. We'll try to put the dates on our website.
Cool.
And how do they contact you if they want to volunteer?
If you want to volunteer right now, the best way is to email me, aadams@inyocoe.org. Coming soon will be like a website platform where you can kind of apply to be a volunteer. It'll be really easy. You just kind of share like your name and contact info. And you can see what it's all about. There'll be videos out on the website, and then you can just sign up for all the dates that you want to come on that website. So.
And right now your rejection rate is pretty low, right?
0.
Hey, guaranteed A, easy A. So I appreciate you coming very much. Thank you.
Thank you
This is
so
Jimmy
much.
T with Eye on Inyo Education with Amanda Adams. What is your title again?
Outdoor education and science specialist.
Amanda wants you to volunteer. Thank you. This is Jimmy T.
Thank you.
How awesome to be with you. I'm Pastor Tim Homan from Mammoth Lakes Lutheran and Grace Lutheran in Bishop with a devotional for you. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Luke 23. The narrative of God's love for us could not be more epic. It begins with absolute perfection. It's filled with heartbreak, betrayal, but also promises and faithfulness. There's only one way for the reign of the devil to be undone, and Jesus had to do everything just right. Jesus had to be born, becoming God and man. He had to be sinless, never once falling away from his Father's will. He had to usher in the kingdom of God, breaking the devil's rule. He had to be baptized to take the place of the holy child we could not be. And he had to die. The payment for sin is death, and we owed God a debt that we could never pay, a debt only Jesus' perfect life could satisfy. Jesus was on the most critical mission known to the existence as the kingdom of God, warred against the kingdom of the devil. In perfect love, Jesus conquered all that is wrong in this world and paid for the sin of every person. In victory, he's preparing for the day when heaven and earth are new and reconciled, when God and all living things can live together in love and peace forever. What kind of love is this? It's the unfathomable love of God, who will stop at nothing to be with his beloved creations. I'm Pastor Tim Homan from Mammoth Lakes Lutheran Church and Grace Lutheran Church.
Hello, I'm Jimmy T with Eye on Inyo. Today we're doing Inyo County Office of Education. The amazing chef Drea Hagar is here today. No relation. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you
Now-
for having me.
So the big question is, how did you get here?
I started cooking with my grandma. So she used to have this cafe, I guess, like market and deli in West LA. And she did Middle Eastern food. I'm Egyptian, so
Oh, cool.
I grew up with Mediterranean food, Middle Eastern food, and that just kind of like sparked something in me to just keep going, just keep going with food. So I got my first job when I was 15, and I started as a barista, and just kept on going until I was at a higher level. And I started, cooking really young, and I kept on moving forward, and then higher and higher levels of difficulty in restaurants and hotels and catering and fine dining and all of it. So, yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah.
So, not disparagingly, did you go to any culinary schools?
I did after I had experience. So I didn't go to like CIA or ICE or anything like that. I just went to my local community college, and at that time it was Oxnard College, and yeah, and they had a culinary program, and I took it.
Huge. Now, what can you tell me some of the restaurants you worked at?
Yeah, I can.
Sorry,
So
would you tell me some of the
yeah,
restaurants you worked at?
absolutely. So the I worked at when I was living in Santa Barbara, I worked at Downey's. It's on State Street. It's a fine dining restaurant, and that was my first introduction to fine dining food. And then after that, I was at the Biltmore Hotel in Santa Barbara, and Seasons Catering after that, and then I opened a restaurant in Santa Barbara called Foxtail, and it's a Mediterranean restaurant. So I was the executive chef there, and I developed the menu, and we opened, and then I decided to leave and move on to bigger and better things, and then I moved out here. And the food scene out here is, there's not too much. There's not too much for a chef to partake in, I guess.
Now, what prompted the move to Bishop? Was that
My husband.
okay?
Yeah.
May I ask what he does?
Yes, he works at Caltrans.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a stormwater engineer at Caltrans.
Well, that's an important job. If you've ever been flooded like we were last year. Okay, this is a pause for Jimmy to think. Okay, and I'll cut this out, whatever time this was.
Sure. And clap.
Yes, the local cuisine it's you have to sell what the people will eat. And
Right.
I have an acquaintance who I said, "Oh, great, you can open one of your exotic restaurants." He goes, "Nobody will eat it. You got to
I
make what
know.
they'll eat." I'm like, oh yeah, and
Yeah. So I'm hoping, like, maybe with some of the classes and a little bit of I don't want to say like inclusivity, but like just exposure
yes,
to some different flavors, some different cuisines and stuff like that. I'm hoping that it'll spark. I mean, we have Uncle Cheyenne's, we have Cloud Ripper, and they're like popping off. So that's something, and I love to see that,
we're not. I don't like to give commercials for people, but if you haven't tried Uncle Sham's, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
He makes the dynamite lumpia, fried lumpia.
Yeah.
Just it'll rip your lips off. It feels so good.
And then like Pignon pizza and Pinot pies, like all these like small entrepreneurs, and everyone's like just trying to get a taste, and they're killing it. So it's really good to see. I hope that, there's more of that, in the community, and the community embraces them,
Antipodal cuisine.
Mhm.
Pinot pies are New Zealand, and
Right.
the Uncle Sam, he's a combination of Asian fusion and
Filipino and some Vietnamese in there with the banh mi and
some Korean bulgogi from time to time. And so, how did you get the job at Inyo County Office of Education at the Jill Kinmont Booth School?
So I was actually I had applied for it I think a year before I got the job, and then they just randomly called me, and they were like, "Hey, do you think you can do this?" And it was kind of like a bing bang boom moment where it was like, I have 2 weeks to get this class started and going, So it was kind of intense, but we made it work, I mean, you always have to be adaptable in any situation, and you have to just really think on your toes, you know? So we did it, we got it, you know? And I love those kids, you know, they're great. And it's really fun teaching them too, you know?
Assistant Superintendent Randy Cook says you're an intuitive leader and teacher. What was he talking about when he said that?
Well, I'm not too sure. Maybe he pops in and he sees something that I don't see. So he's really sweet. Thank you, Mr. Cook.
I think what he means is that you look at a child and you can tell what will motivate them to become a to cook.
I think so. Maybe it was because I was in the same situation when I was a kid, you know. I had, you know, been to 3 different high schools. I finally ended up in a continuation school as well. So, yeah, so I feel like I understand these kids in particular a little bit more, just because it is very familiar, you know.
Where do you see the program in 5 years?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully bigger. Hopefully bigger with more students and more learning, and maybe we can even get into some competitions around California and, you know, really make a name for the school, you know.
Is that for children as well as,
Mm-hmm.
and what about continuing education for adults? Do you teach those classes as well?
I do. So I work with the Adult Education Center through Inyo County, and we do some adult classes, and we just finished our sushi class, which was super fun. I don't think you got in, so.
I didn't see that. I didn't know they were going to have it. I would have been there. Buns.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. We had done a chocolate truffle class, a Thanksgiving sides, an elevated Thanksgiving sides class, pasta class, and I'm hoping to do like maybe a Tuscan date night class, or some kind of Thai class, some kind of like just, and like I said, you know, just really interjecting culture, you know, different cultures, different flavors, exposure into the community. And I think that everyone should be able to know how to cook and be comfortable in the kitchen. And maybe we'll even do a basic knife skills class, you know,
Yes.
just like basics.
Santuko. Santoku. Sorry.
What's sentoku?
That's the Japanese chef knife that's got almost a flat blade on it. It's got the round tip.
Oh, interesting.
Sorry. I lived in Japan. I
Very
used to
cool.
watch them sushi chefs. They go, how do you do that? And you have all your fingers. But
You gotta.
yes. Yes, sir. But
Don't cut like this. You cut like this.
so what is your favorite cuisine, or do you have a favorite cuisine?
Well, obviously, Middle Eastern food is very dear to me, very close to my heart. But Asian food, like Southeast Asian food, is also really dear to me as well, just because of the amount of depth in the dishes and the flavor. It all comes from different things, and yeah.
There's an interesting contrast between Chinese cooking and Japanese cooking.
Absolutely.
Chinese ingredients are great, but they put them all together. In Japan, each ingredient is kind of separate, which
Yeah.
is it's two wonderful concepts. They both work.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
So this is the make or break question to find out if Chef Drea will come back. What is your favorite chocolate?
So my favorite chocolate is actually Tony's.
Okay.
I love Tony's. I love their ethical values. I love all the flavors of chocolate they have. But you mentioned something,
Valrhona.
Valrhona, which is also a very ethical company, and you know, it's always about sustainability and ethical behaviors across, you know, country lines, right? So we always want to treat the farmer the best.
I admit I have not heard of Tony's. I haven't tasted it. I will check it out.
It's
Now,
delicious.
Valrhona is one of the things they were having problem with is consistent sourcing of cocoa beans. So they bought cocoa plantations and they're running them very ethically. But when you buy Caraíbe, that comes from a specific island. It's just like, okay, this chocolate came from here and these chocolate beans came from there. It's
That's
fun.
really
And they're
cool.
really, and each one has a different flavor and consistency and hints and essences of notes.
Right.
Cool. Now, is there anything you want to say on the way out? Is that comments, observations? Don't be afraid to try new food.
Don't be afraid to try new food.
Taste it. If you don't like it, that's fine. But if you don't taste
you've
it,
tasted it, you won't know, right? You won't know until you've taken a bite and enjoyed it, you know?
when I went to Japan, I apologize. I hate to talk about me. Bad people do that. When I went to Japan, I went to this tempura restaurant and I ordered sushi, and it was terrible. So I said, okay, I'm off to sushi. And my friend says, hey, you want to go have sushi tonight? I said, no. Why? It's terrible.
Well, you went to a tempura restaurant.
Yeah, I went to a tempura restaurant. Oh, go to sushi. Hey, if you want Italian food, go to an Italian restaurant.
Right.
But so I went there. Okay, now I know what it's
Yeah.
about. But you got to try it. You don't
Right.
know. You can always not eat something you've tasted. It's hard to eat something you haven't tasted or something.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
When is your next class coming up, or do you have an idea?
We're not sure yet. Like I said, it's still in the works. I don't know if I'm going to do another pasta class or another themed class like that just yet. But be on the lookout on Facebook and Instagram on the adult education profiles.
Now, have you considered a Dolmas class? Dolmata?
Oh yeah, Thomas.
Yeah,
I love eating them, but making them
they're a lot of work.
is an absolute nightmare. Yeah.
I used to make yakitori by the 2-gallon container, and it would last like 6 minutes.
Oh, man.
And same way with buns. I would make kote, kote, and I would make alta.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, hey, look, where'd it go? I didn't even get to taste one.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, dumplings in particular. Absolutely.
So if you have a Dolmas class, I'm in there.
Okay.
And tell us about kebabs. Kebab.
Well, what about kebabs?
What kind do you like the best? Do you like the lamb or the minced?
I like kofta.
Yes.
Yeah. So as an Egyptian, I feel whenever like we go down south and get Mediterranean food, and we'll go to an Armenian restaurant or a Lebanese restaurant, and my husband will get the kebab, the meat that's like skewered and grilled, and I love the kofta. And I feel like whenever my husband he'll order kofta for me. He's like, they're like, how do you know that? How do you know what that is? Because they call it something else.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, my wife's Egyptian. And they're like, yeah, only Egyptians order the kofta. Like, so I love kofta. That's my go-to for sure.
Cool. And also, there was a big Basque influence here. There's still Basque influence. Have you tried Basque cuisine?
No, I haven't. I would love to.
It's wonderful. It's very simple, farm style.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Chef Drea Hagar. She's at Inyo County Office of Education at the Jill Kim Booth School. And thank you for coming. Please come again.
Thank you.
And,
Yeah.
I was giving her a ration of grief because she didn't bring anything to eat. No snacks.
Well, you can hire me if you wanted to.
Yeah. You cater. Do you have a
Yeah,
site?
I'm a private chef. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Do rich people hire you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I appreciate your coming very, very much. I look forward to seeing you again, and let us know when you have classes. We'll promote it.
Absolutely. Yeah, please. Yeah, check out my website. You can follow me on Instagram, Cooking with Drea, cookingwithdrea.com. And then I'm all over town. So
Cool.
Thanks so much.
This is Jimmy T with eye on the stove and the oven and the kitchen counter and
Make sure you tuck your fingers in when you're chopping.
sushi fingers. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hello, Inyo County. So this is not my first time here, but I did say last time that I would be riding a mule the next time I came.
We could find you one.
Okay. All right. So, we'll have to do that. Oh, thank you.
We can get one right now if you'd like.
Thank you. I would. But for me, it's such a pleasure. I flew in to the Bishop Airport today, which was a great experience. Yes, it was a great experience. Yes. And I saw Joe was there welcoming some of folks from Chicago and being very accommodating with their luggage and all. So it really just expresses what our community is about. And I can't think of a better person that personifies Inyo County and the Eastern Sierras than Sheriff Rennie. I want to talk a little bit about Women's History Month, which is in March. This is the last certificate that I'm presenting, and probably one of the most important. The reason is that this year we opened up the Women of the Year across Senate District 4. I represent 13 counties and 21 cities. And I gave every elected the opportunity to nominate their Woman of the Year. And some of our larger counties said, yes, we have a couple for you. But I represent rural communities, Eastern Sierras. And it's not often that the Eastern Sierras and our smaller rural communities get a distinguished honor like Women of the Year. And so for me, this is a great honor to be able to present it and also in person. To me, the Shero possesses a high level of compassion, dedication, honesty, and integrity. And with that integrity comes perseverance and tenacity. A Shero is selfless, a person who is unwavering in their efforts to create a thriving environment with every member of the community that they touch, that they speak to, and I value. I am very honored to recognize two Sheros today, one from Mono County that's joining us, and Inyo County Sheriff Stephanie Rennie. Yeah, you can clap, yeah. Good. Right. So when Supervisor Trina Orill wrote to me, she told me this: Sheriff Rennie embodies the finest traditions of a dedicated public servant who encourages and embraces innovation and always goes the extra mile to ensure that her employees are respected and valued. Sheriff Rennie is the first female sheriff in Inyo County's 158-year history. In just year one, Sheriff Rennie has been in office. She has made significant changes to improve the way her team protects and serves the Inyo County people. She has made her story by implementing the correctional corporal position to build a career path for correctional officers aspiring to advance. Sheriff Rennie has also invested resources in strengthening several divisions within her office to tackle pressing issues including speeding and narcotics enforcement. She is that true role model who continues to encourage all women, young girls, and all people to follow their dreams, and especially in a male-dominated law enforcement field. It is my honor to award Sheriff Rennie as the 2024 California Woman Making History, joining the honor alongside countless extraordinary women who have shaped our state and our country's collective past with dedication and perseverance. Sheriff Rennie, it is my honor to give you this on behalf of the Senate of California. I'm going to switch spots with you so that we can take photos with you. Okay? Is your family here today? Yeah.
Let's get to work. We're gonna need more firepower.
Heads up, tall, dark, and horny at 12 o'clock.
Ghostbusters, March 22nd.